Hi, I'm Ethan. I'm 26 years old and I live in a cozy loft in downtown Portland, Oregon. I work as an electrical technician and run a small side business fixing appliances. My life is usually calm, predictable, and uneventful. But sometimes, life throws a curveball just when you least expect it. It all began on a quiet Saturday morning. I was sipping my coffee on the balcony, enjoying the crisp Oregon air, when I suddenly heard a distressed voice coming from the loft next door. The walls here are thin, so I often get snippets of my neighbors' conversations. But today something felt different. Urgent. Yes, my shower won't run at all. No hot water, almost no pressure. "I can't find a plumber today," the woman was saying, panic creeping into her tone. I listened for a few moments. She was clearly frustrated and helpless, calling one number after another, but no one was available for the weekend. I hesitated for a second. I'm primarily an electrical technician, but I've always been good with general repairs. I studied mechanical systems in college, and I grew up fixing things around the house with my dad. Helping seemed like the natural thing to do. After finishing my coffee, I grabbed my toolkit and walked over to her door. I knocked lightly. There was silence for a moment, then the faint sound of movement. A couple of minutes later, the door opened, and I froze for a second. Standing in front of me was a stunning woman in her late 30s, early 40s, probably around 38. She had chestnut brown hair cascading in gentle waves over her shoulders and was wearing a soft burgundy bathrobe. Her damp hair suggested she had just stepped out of the shower, and her eyes carried a mix of frustration and desperation. But there was also a striking depth in them that caught me off guard. "Hi," I said, trying to sound casual but not failing to notice her beauty. "I'm Ethan, your neighbor from the loft next door. I couldn't help overhearing your problem with the shower. I'm an electrical technician, but I'm also handy with plumbing. If you'd like, I can take a look." Her eyes widened in surprise, then softened with relief. "Really? That would be amazing. I'm Clara. I haven't been able to use the shower all morning. I don't know what I'd do without help." I smiled. "It's no trouble. Let me check it out." She stepped aside to let me in. Her loft was stunning. Modern, with artistic furniture, abstract paintings on the walls, and a warm, inviting atmosphere. Even the smallest details, like fresh flowers on the coffee table and neatly organized shelves, suggested someone who cared deeply about her surroundings. We walked toward the bathroom, and I could feel her following me closely. The bathroom was spacious and stylish, with a marble floor, a large glass shower cabin, and sleek chrome fixtures. I inspected the faucets and immediately noticed the issue. Lime and mineral buildup had clogged the filter, restricting water flow. "This is simple," I said. "Just needs a thorough cleaning. I can fix it in about 30 minutes if I grab a few tools." Clara's face lit up. "Oh, thank you. I don't know how I'd ever manage without you." "I'm happy to help. Neighbors should look out for each other," I replied. I went back to my loft to gather tools, and when I returned, Clara was waiting at her door, now wearing a long cream-colored cardigan over her robe. She still looked radiant, effortless, and completely natural. I got to work, carefully dismantling the faucet, cleaning the filter with vinegar and water. Clara stood nearby, curiosity evident in her gaze. "You're really good at this," she said. "I assumed an electrician wouldn't know plumbing." "I studied mechanical systems in college, and have been fixing things since I was a kid," I explained. "Growing up with my dad, I learned to tackle almost anything around the house." Clara's expression softened. "I wish I had learned more practical skills. My ex used to handle all this, and I'm not good at these things." Her voice held a tinge of sadness, and I realized she had been divorced. As I finished, Clara brought me a cold glass of lemonade. "You must be thirsty after working," she said. "Thanks," I said, taking the glass. Our hands touched for a moment, and a strange warmth ran through me. Our eyes met, and it was like a spark had ignited in the air. I completed the job, turned on the faucet, and water flowed freely, hot and strong. Clara clapped her hands, delighted. "Wow, that's perfect!" "Thank you so much, Ethan. You're a lifesaver." She hugged me warmly. The hug was lingering, intimate, and I could feel her soft perfume. We pulled back, both slightly embarrassed but smiling. "How can I ever thank you?" she asked. "No need," I said. "I'm just happy to help a neighbor." Clara's eyes met mine, and I sensed a mixture of gratitude and something deeper. "Ethan, you feel different. Like an angel came to help me when I needed it most." I laughed, nervously. "An angel? That's a new one." "I've been through rough times," she said softly. "Divorce, trust issues. I didn't expect someone like you to just show up and help. It means a lot." A bond was forming between us, a quiet connection neither of us expected. Clara's sincerity, her vulnerability, her warmth, it was intoxicating. Then she asked softly, almost shyly, "Would you like to stay for dinner? I'll cook." It's my way of saying thanks. My heartbeat raced. "I'd love to," I said. "Is 7 p.m. okay?" She asked. "Perfect," I replied. By 7 p.m., the sky over Portland was painted in soft hues of orange and pink. I held a bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon in my hand, feeling both excited and slightly nervous. The streets were calm, the scent of blooming flowers drifting in from nearby parks. I arrived at Clara's loft, and as the door opened, I was momentarily speechless. Clara looked incredible. She had changed out of her bathrobe into a flowing emerald green dress that highlighted her figure elegantly. Her hair was styled in soft waves, light makeup enhancing her natural features. She smiled as I entered. "Wow, you look stunning," I said genuinely. "You look great too," she replied, a hint of shyness in her voice. As I stepped inside, the loft smelled warm and inviting. Freshly cooked herbs, roasted garlic, and something sweet from the oven. Candles flickered on the dining table, casting a soft, romantic glow over the room. The table was beautifully set, with fine china, wine glasses, and a small bouquet of white lilies in the center. "What did you make?" I asked, curiosity piqued. "Ratatouille, from an old family recipe." "I hope you like it," she said, with a nervous excitement in her eyes. We sat down and began eating. The food was extraordinary, flavors layered and rich, every bite a testament to Clara's skill. We sipped wine and began talking, the conversation flowing naturally. She shared stories about her work as an interior designer, detailing her favorite projects and the struggles she faced trying to establish herself after her divorce. I shared stories from my electrical work and side business, talking about unusual repairs, tricky installations, and the satisfaction of fixing something no one else could. "What about hobbies? What do you do outside of work?" she asked. "I've always loved restoring old furniture and appliances. It's relaxing, and there's a sense of accomplishment in bringing something back to life. I also like reading about architecture and engineering innovations." "You sound like someone who notices details," she said with a smile. "I like that. I've been drawn to people who care about details, who see the world thoughtfully." The conversation gradually shifted from polite small talk to deeper topics: childhood memories, dreams, fears, and failures. There was a genuine intimacy forming, a comfort in sharing personal thoughts with someone I had just met in such a peculiar way. After dinner, we moved to the living area. Clara poured 2 cups of chamomile tea, and we settled on the plush sofa, sitting close enough to feel each other's warmth. "Ethan," she said softly, Today wasn't just about the shower, you know." I looked at her, intrigued. "What do you mean?" She took a deep breath. "I've been feeling very lonely since my divorce. I've been cautious, afraid to trust anyone, to let anyone in. But there's something about you. Your sincerity, your patience, your willingness to help without expecting anything in return. It's rare." And I felt it immediately. Her words made my chest tighten. I reached for her hand, and she didn't pull away. "I felt it too, Clara," I admitted. "There's something between us, even though we barely know each other. I can't explain it, but I know it's real." Her eyes shimmered under the candlelight. "I know it sounds sudden, but can we explore this? Slowly, carefully?" I nodded. "Absolutely. There's no rush. We'll see where this goes." We leaned back, sipping tea, our hands intertwined. The tension in the air was electric, a mixture of anticipation, excitement, and the uncertainty of the unexpected connection. Over the next few weeks, Clara and I started spending more time together. Sometimes I cooked dinner for her, sometimes she for me. We explored Portland together, strolling through Powell's books, visiting the Japanese garden, discovering quiet coffee shops tucked in alleyways, and spending lazy afternoons on the riverfront. Clara introduced me to her friends, and I felt welcomed into her world, a world she had carefully rebuilt post-divorce. I admired her resilience, her intelligence, and the warmth she exuded despite past hardships. One afternoon, as we were rearranging a room in her loft, she paused and looked at me, her eyes serious. "Ethan, I need to be honest. My divorce was messy. My ex, he left me doubting myself, questioning my choices. I've never fully healed. I hope that doesn't scare you away." I took her hands in mine. "Clara, everyone has a past. It doesn't scare me. It makes me respect your journey even more. You've fought through pain and built a life you can be proud of. That's beautiful." Her lips curved into a small, relieved smile. "You really mean that?" "I do," I said, smiling back. That evening, we found ourselves on her balcony, watching the sunset over the city, the golden light reflected in her eyes, making her look almost ethereal. We talked for hours about hopes, dreams, and fears. It felt as if time had slowed down just for us. One night, after months of growing closer, Clara invited me to her loft for what she called a special surprise. I arrived to find the place transformed, candles everywhere, soft music playing, and a beautifully set table on the balcony, overlooking the city lights. She had cooked an elaborate dinner, one of the finest meals I'd ever tasted. As we ate, she shared more about her past, her struggles as a single mother, her heartbreaks, her ambitions, and the lessons she'd learned. I shared my own vulnerabilities, my insecurities, and my dreams. The openness and trust between us grew deeper. After dinner, we moved to the sofa with glasses of wine. Clara rested her head on my shoulder. "Ethan, I've never felt like this before. I feel safe with you, alive with you, like I can be myself completely." I kissed her forehead gently. "Clara, I feel the same way. You've changed my life in ways I never imagined. Meeting you, it feels like fate." We spent the rest of the night talking, laughing, and sharing quiet moments. The physical connection was natural, passionate, and respectful, a reflection of the deep emotional bond we had developed over weeks of shared experiences, honesty, and growing trust. Months passed. Clara finalized her divorce, gaining complete freedom and a renewed sense of self. I started expanding my electrical business, taking on more challenging projects. Our relationship blossomed, filled with laughter, adventure, and support. We encouraged each other's dreams, celebrated successes, and comforted each other during setbacks. Sometimes, we'd sit on her balcony in the morning, sipping coffee, the city below us alive with energy. We'd plan our days, share our thoughts, and simply enjoy the presence of one another. Our story, beginning with a broken shower, a simple act of neighborly kindness, and an unexpected connection, transformed into a deep, genuine love. It wasn't just about passion or attraction. It was about trust, support, and the rare understanding of another human soul. Clara often calls me her angel, and I jokingly call her my princess. But beneath the playful names lies the truth. We found each other against the odds, through ordinary circumstances that became extraordinary. Life sometimes surprises you in the smallest ways: a knock on the door, a plea for help, and a spark that turns into a lifetime of love. Our journey continues, filled with shared dreams, laughter, and the quiet joy of knowing that sometimes the most beautiful stories start with the simplest moments.